It's 77 days to the general election, and the IEBC is racing to beat its tight deadlines. This even as the Commission says it will not extend the deadline for submission of signatures for independent presidential candidates, with the number of candidates set to drop to 44 after 11 presidential aspirants failed to meet set requirements. At the same time, uncertainty looms as IEBC is set to carefully scrutinize aspirants through the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to establish their moral and ethical standing. As IEBC races through the timelines, the government has assured of a peaceful election process in August. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch. We have these and more stories lined up for you tonight. I'm Tony Omondi and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Let's begin our broadcast. Now, a section of independent presidential aspirants is decrying what it terms as unfair playing field by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, ahead of the August general election. The aspirants who aired their grievances at the Bomas of Kenya, where the IEBC met all the presidential aspirants in a pre-nomination meeting, saw some of the aspirants storm out of the meeting in protest. The contentious issue remains the collection of 2,000 signatures from at least 24 counties as a pre-nomination requirement that should have been met by all the candidates by the end of Monday today if they are to be cleared for the race. As Kennedy Kimani now reports, the independent presidential aspirants have demanded an extension of the timelines, but the IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati has opposed the extension.
And all aspirants present, good morning.
What was meant to be a meeting between the IEBC and presidential aspirants in the August polls at the Bomas of Kenya today slowly morphed into a war of words by a section of presidential aspirants, more so the independent candidates, to the IEBC, decrying what they term as an unfair playing field.
The President of the Republic of Kenya has declared himself the chief campaigner of a state project, Raila Odinga. He's one of our candidates. Like us, our president, whose office is financed by our public funds, has chosen one amongst the rest. There's no fair election play field.
Let us not mistake the passion in nuzzling to mean anger. It's passion for the right thing.
It is like a game that I'm actually likely to opt out because I cannot be involved in a game without rules. A game where goalposts are changed in the middle of the game, which I'm trying to say because it is election. It's not a date, but a process. The process looks being flawed. I've been to the IEBC advisory towers and not been attended to.
We must all humble ourselves, listen to each other, and provide a conducive environment where every candidate enjoys their space to learn.
The independent presidential aspirants have protested against one of the directive given by the IEBC that they should present 2,000 signatures from at least 24 counties as pre-nomination requirement by close of business today, if they intend to be cleared for the race. The aspirants have demanded an extension of the timelines given by the IEBC. In response, IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati has said that the timelines cannot be extended.
Nimezunguka pwani nzima wananiambia sasa tukikupatia upitishe mtu mwingine na tukupatie kopi zetu za IDs. Utakuwa umetufanyia haki gani? Utakuwa umetudhulumu, utakuwa umetuuza.
The nation, the republic is much more important than the 1 week that you would grant and extend to these dear ones so that they can be able to do what they have to do.
Mnatuambia tutoe ID copies 48,000. Na kama hiyo ID moja itakuwa iko na shida, inamaanisha inatolewa. Inamaanisha tunatakana kuleta 100,000 copies of ID.
This period cannot be extended because of the timelines, the strict timelines which we are applying, which were gazetted on 20th January this year.
IEBC has further directed presidential aspirants with foreign degrees to first obtain certification from the Commission of University Education as a nomination requirement. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch, Nairobi.
An independent.
Thank you, Ken Kimani, for that report. Now, the Director of Criminal Investigations, George Kinoti, has dismissed the recently launched terrorism guidelines by the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nuruddin Haji, saying he will not subscribe to them. In an affidavit filed in court, Kinoti, through Chief Inspector Martin Otieno, said he was never consulted during the guidelines formulation process. According to him, the guidelines are unconstitutional and that the DCI will not accede to being guided by the same in the investigations of terrorism and terrorism offences. Dole Murigi has this report.
In an affidavit filed in court, Kinoti Throne Chief Inspector Martin Otieno says he was never consulted during the process of coming up with the guidelines, noting that they have the best training DCI Academy, but they have never consulted. According to the affidavit, the DCI was only made aware of the validation and the launch of the said guidelines on social media through a press release by DPP Nurdin Harji without prior notification to him as a principal enforcer of the law on terrorism. According to the directive, the ODPP is supposed to be notified before making any arrest and prosecution on terror suspects.
For the DPP to usurp powers that have been conferred by the Constitution and the National Police Service Act upon the National Police, to wit the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, appears to be the now weak link and a clawback on the gains that have been made in the fight against terrorism.
In the case, Member Charo argues that the guidelines are discriminative in nature as they apply to only the crime of terror and not any other serious crime or offense. Through lawyer Dunstan Omari, Ocharo claims that the guidelines, namely the Inter-Agency Guidelines on Cooperation and Collaboration in the Investigation and Prosecution of Terrorism and Terrorism Financing, the decision by the DPP does not concur with public interest or national security values and is a deliberate effort to circumvent justice through the abuse of office.
The mandate of investigation is provided for in Article 245 of the Constitution to the police and specifically to the DCI. Article 157 gives the Director of Public Prosecution the mandate to prosecute.
According to the guidelines set by the ODPP, state agencies and civil society, the ATPU must notify the prosecutor when the unit is gathering evidence against the suspect and intending to make an arrest unless the exemption of circumstances. Dole Murigi, Hope TV.
Thank you, Dole Murigi, for that. Now, the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, has dropped charges against 21-year-old Alvin Chivondo, who was arrested for the second time for shoplifting at a local supermarket. This even as the DPP ordered that he be taken through a comprehensive psychiatric evaluation to ascertain his mental state. On Monday, the investigating officers brought Chivondo to the Milimani Law Courts. He did not take plea, after which the DPP recalled his file. Earlier, Alvin Chivondo was charged with stealing 5 kgs of rice, 5 liters of cooking oil, 2 kilograms of sugar, honey and tea leaves, totaling 3,165 shillings from a supermarket along Moi Avenue in Nairobi. He was sentenced to 1 year in jail or pay a fine of 100,000 shillings after pleading guilty to shoplifting. However, he was bailed out by former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko.
The office of the DPP has recalled him for a diversion agreement, and the contents of the diversion agreement are that he undergoes a psychiatric evaluation in Mathare, and after that is given psychosocial support so that he could be a law-abiding citizen. At this point, we are talking, he's in Capital Central Police Station, and he will be released once he undergoes psychosocial support.
Dennis Gashoki Karani, the main suspect in the cold murder of Samuel Mugota, claims he's innocent, saying he's being framed for the murder. Karani made the remarks when he presented himself to the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, DCI. On Monday, Karani told journalists that he learned DCI was looking for him when he was in Nakuru, where he claims he runs a cereal business. Karani denied engaging in any business with Mugota, maintaining that he is innocent and that he played no role in the murder of the deceased.
Sasa niko na mshtuko kwa sababu hakuna venye niko connected na mambo kama hiyo. Mugota mwenyewe mimi hata hatujai communicate ama tukafanya any business or anything to do with business or money, rather you know anything of the sort. Hatujai fanya na yeye anything like that. Mugota nilikuwa nilimjua mwaka wa 2018 kwa harusi ya David Mugweru Meru, na kutoka hapo Mugota tumeonana na yeye tena last year March pale Kenyatta Road, Hotel Icon. Nilimpata hapo kwa car wash. Mimi nikaingia kwa restaurant kwa sababu yeye hakuwa anatumia hizo vinywaji hizi hard beverages. So mimi nikaingia ndani nikamwacha kwa car wash. Nikitoka sikumpata. Kutoka hapo hatujai communicate. I've never had his contact.
Away from that, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, has held the third roundtable government-private sector meeting centering on the economy and election preparedness ahead of the August 9th general election, chaired by the National Development Implementation and Communication Cabinet Committee Chairman, who is the Interior CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i. The meeting saw the government outline security measures put in place to ensure Kenyans and their businesses are safe before, during and after the general election. According to the Interior CS, the country is safe and his ministry has put up clear structures to ensure a peaceful election and power transition. Dickens Luvanda has this report.
With less than 80 days to the August 9th general elections, the National Development Implementation and Communication Cabinet Committee, NDICCC, chaired by Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination Dr. Fred Matiang'i, on Monday held a third roundtable meeting with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance KEPSA, focusing on the economy and election preparedness. The meeting also attended by Cabinet Secretaries Joe Mushiru of ICT, James Mashero of Transport, Farida Karone of Lands, and Betty Maina of Trade. The National Cohesion and Integration Committee, IPOA, and other government agencies focused on security arrangements to secure peaceful polls and interventions to insulate the economy from election-related jitters, while also spurring greater economic growth.
This is a structure that started about 3 years ago, and we did meet a lot, online a lot during the COVID season. The government has made sure that there's enough funding available for elections to propel the transparency and credibility of the elections. The government is looking at a national tax policy to ensure there's certainty in tax and the medium-term revenue projection.
The meeting saw the government assure Kenyans that the country is safe despite the ongoing political jitters.
Our country is secure and safe, and that we are ready to support the IEBC to conduct the general elections. That no one needs to worry about anything. I have just asked this morning the private sector colleagues to continue making their orders, to continue making their business plans, expanding their businesses, because our country is secure and our country is safe. We will have a peaceful elections.
According to Matiang'i, Kenya's security sector has seen reforms that have ensured efficiency, decline in crime, and improved welfare of security officers compared to the past years.
When you look at where we are today, by this time in 2017, we had more incidents than we have now. In fact, the Inspector General of Police and I, who have been here this morning, have just demonstrated to the private sector that when you look at the number of incidents that we are dealing with at this point compared to the number of incidents we were dealing with in 2017, we are at less than a quarter of the incidents that we were dealing with in 2017, which means our country has come of age.
The private sector has emphasized on the need to have a good and accountable leadership in power, challenging Kenyan voters to vet political candidates. Hence, the KEPSA Kagua Kabla ya Kuchagua initiative.
Choose whoever you want, but at the same time, make sure that the person you bring in after August 10th, 11th, 12th, or whenever the results are announced and accepted, whoever comes into power, are they the people who will take us forward?
So let's say somebody is aggrieved, whether I was elected or not, or given what position I was, can we use the channels that are there? And that is why you're hearing, as KEPSA, we have met the judiciary, like you've heard 4 times, just to make sure that when you are aggrieved, there is a process.
During the Indo meeting, it was also revealed that the private sector has experienced an improvement in public service delivery due to the implementation of some of the proposals that KEPSA has been engaging on digitization of government services, with the high cost of production as a result of a weak shilling against the increasing dollar being the elephant in the room.
All the issues that KEPSA has been raising have been addressed, even if they are recent ones. The recent one, of course, being the impact of the war in Russia and Ukraine, the impact on food, the impact on fuel, the impact on fertilizer.
Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV News.
Thank you, Dickens. Wiper Party plans to go back to Azimio One Kenya, a coalition party, but on the condition that the coalition's principals have a discussion with Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka to iron out all issues. Addressing the press after a meeting with party officials and aspirants in Machakos County, Wiper Organizing Secretary Robert Mbui says there's still time for the two parties to chart an agreement.
Tension continues to mount in the Azimio One Kenya coalition over the stance of Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka on the newly unveiled running mate Martha Karua and Raila Odinga's promise to appoint him as Chief Cabinet Secretary. On the same day that Martha Karua was unveiled at the KICC on 16th May, an event that saw huge crowds fill the premise, Kalonzo Musyoka, at a separate event, expressed that he had decamped from the Azimio One Kenya alliance after what he said was being shortchanged, and unveiled Andrew Leteipa Ole Sankuli as his running mate. Kalonzo maintained that he had taken up the nomination by Wiper Party to go after the top job.
And therefore, we have agreed to go our separate ways and compare notes as we move.
In efforts to resolve the current situation, a section of Wiper leaders and aspirants held a meeting in Machakos County where, among other things, they discussed their return to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance. Wiper Party Organizing Secretary Robert Mbui indicated that Kalonzo Musyoka had announced he would run for presidency after disagreement rose within the coalition, pointing out that Wiper did not know of any offers from the coalition until after Kalonzo had declared he would run for president. So far, 45 out of 50 candidates present at the meeting voted to go back to the coalition.
We are asking our party leader that we do reconsider the possibility of having further discussions on this coalition arrangement. One of the reasons why we are disappointed and why we were disappointed and said we are going to go all the way to the ballot is because there was no structured discussion. There was no discussions about how political party positions would be shared. There was no discussion about positions. The only position we as a party had talked about was only the position of deputy president. So when a position was mentioned to us through the media, and we heard that we had been offered a position of cabinet secretary, I think that was called chief, we didn't understand what that means.
Trouble began rocking the coalition after Musyoka had vowed not to appear before the 7-member selection panel on grounds that the exercise was beneath a person of his political stature and that he should be the automatic pick for the position. However, on the last day of vetting, he showed up to the surprise of many.
The decision to come was my decision because I realized we didn't want to give anybody an excuse whatsoever to say aligomea kuja.
Last week, Gideon Moi spent time with Kalonzo at his Yatta home, trying to convince him to work with Azimio. For now, all focus is on Kalonzo to make the decision on which way to go. Grace Wangoi for Hope TV News Watch.
Thank you, Grace Wangoi, for that report. Let's now take a short break on News Watch. We'll be back shortly. To stay with Hope TV News Watch.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back to Hope TV News Watch. Now, the Kenya Kwanza Brigade has continued its campaigns in Mount Kenya region in Kiambu and Murang'a counties as they continue to drum up support for the bottom-up economic model agenda. Addressing the residents during Kiambu County Economic Forum in Limuru, Deputy President William Ruto said integrity has to begin with leaders and therefore Kenyans must elect leaders who are trustworthy. As cracks continue to emerge within coalitions, it's alleged that aggrieved UDA affiliate party candidates convened a crisis meeting to discuss a way forward with a possibility of a resolution to quit the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Tess Njenga now reports.
Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate Deputy President William Ruto and his running mate Rigathi Gachagua have camped in Mount Kenya in a bid to rally the bloc's vote in the upcoming polls. While assuring of victory in the coming elections, Ruto's running mate Rigathi Gachagua said there is need for financial autonomy in the police force, castigating political interferences.
Even the DCI officers have given us a presentation. They are also complaining that they have been misused to do politics. They would like to do their professional work. Now, wametuambia one of the reasons why they are not able to work independently is because they have no autonomy of financial spending. Kuna wataalamu wanaangalia ni kwa nini bei ya unga iko juu, inaweza teremuka namna gani, bei ya cooking gas.
Addressing the residents during the Kiambu County Economic Forum in Limuru, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi asked the residents to turn up in large numbers to vote and ensure they win in the first round.
We want it to be decisive. We want tushinde kwa raundi ya kwanza. We don't want to go to a petition. We don't want to prolong the results. Tujue kwamba tumetoka kwa wingi, William Samoei Ruto ashinde ili tusiwe na mambo mengine katika taifa letu. We want to start work immediately.
Tujibebe party leader William Kabogo said that national resources should be allocated depending on the number of people in a county, adding that Kenyans need access to cheap credit.
Wengi wamesema mimi ni hustler, mimi ni hustler, mimi ni hustler. But I'll tell you the following. Ni tukichukua serikali yetu, mimi na wewe na hawa, sio yako, yetu. Tukichukua serikali, tuweze kuweka maanani pesa ya biashara igawiwe kulingana na wingi wa Wakenya.
And Deputy President William Ruto said that though integrity is key, it has to begin with the leaders and then trickle down to the people. Ruto also challenged the Azimio Alliance to explain to the country how they would tackle corruption.
We are asking our competitors to not give us rhetoric, to not feed us with the usual stories that they will fight corruption. Let them tell us how they will fight corruption. And as we talk about integrity, let me tell them the Kenya Kwanza position is that the most effective way to fight corruption, wastage, and theft is to ensure that we arm the institutions that fight corruption and wastage with enough hardware, software, resources, and eliminate interference.
Reporting for Hope TV News Watch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Thank you, Tess Njenga, for that. Still on politics, the move to have one gubernatorial candidate under the Azimio Oka coalition through zoning in Kakamega County has elicited mixed reactions, with DAP Kenya candidates vowing to expose any discrimination. Addressing the media in Kakamega town during a consultative meeting, DAP Kenya candidates led by nominated Senator Naomi Shiyonga, the DAP women representative candidate, noted that ODM and DAP should compete, saying denying DAP candidates an opportunity is undemocratic. However, Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has lauded ODM leader Raila Odinga for brokering a deal between ODM Kakamega gubernatorial candidate Fernandez Baraza and DAP candidate Lugari MP Ayub Savula, where the latter dropped his bid for the governor's seat to support Baraza.
If Baba comes to Kakamega County to propel the 6-piece agenda, then I can promise him that he is going to fail.
How can you run your own poll and you say your person is popular than the other?
When Baba visits Kakamega, he should consider all candidates under Azimio affiliate parties as critical to his view.
As women of Kenya, we have been yearning for two-third gender. And as a good example, tumeonelea ya kwamba Azimio coalition has chosen a woman leader who is a running mate to right.
Tuna wakombayaji kura wengi, lakini tumeona nyumba ya Azimio paka tuje pamoja ndio tuweze kupata.
Now, the Orange Democratic Movement ODM supporters in Kilifi County have declared they will not vote in a six-piece pattern in the upcoming general election, saying the incumbent woman representative Gertrude Mbeyu had failed to deliver her mandate. They instead announced that they will support Pamoja African Alliance PAA party candidate Christine Zawadi to take over the position. Speaking in Malindi during a meeting attended by over 500 supporters, including women leaders allied to the ODM party, the supporters said Mbeyu had failed in her delivery.
Sio Malindi tu, tukaongea na sauti moja, tuapishwe pamoja na yeye, turudi ground tuje tuchape kazi. Tunaelewana hapo? Wale ambao kazi iliwashinda watatupisha. Tufanye kazi kwa uongozi wa chini wa Zawadi aka kitu na nusu. Atakaposimama atatuelezea kitu na nusu ni nini.
All right, let's look at what is happening internationally. Somalia's new president Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has assumed office just a week after he was voted in by members of parliament. The outgoing president Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo handed over power to Mohamud at Villa Somalia, the presidential palace in the capital Mogadishu. Also in attendance were the Senate and lower house speakers as well as the armed forces. The official inauguration, however, is yet to come and is expected in June. The outgoing president Mohamed Farmajo urged Somalis to work with the new president. Meanwhile, Mohamud has promised to focus on security, national reconciliation and debt relief during his first 100 days in office. The assumption marks a comeback for Mohamud, who served as Somalia's president between 2012 and 2017. And doctors in Sri Lanka say a shortage of medicine caused by an economic crisis could soon cause deaths as hospitals are forced to postpone life-saving procedures due to lack of necessary drugs. Sri Lanka imports more than 80% of its medical supplies, but with foreign currency reserves running out because of the crisis, essential medications are disappearing from shelves and the healthcare system is close to collapse. A government official working on procuring medical supplies said about 180 items were running out, including injections for dialysis patients, medicine for patients who have undergone transplants, and certain cancer drugs. Sri Lanka is grappling with its worst economic crisis since independence in 1948, brought about by COVID-19, shattering the tourism-reliant economy, rising oil prices, populist tax cuts, and a ban on the import of chemical fertilizers, which devastated agriculture. Right, let's take another short break on News Watch. We'll be back with business news and sports. Just stay with us.
Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship, only on Extended Worship.
Welcome back. Equity has introduced Equity Virtual Assistant, EVA, the bank's chat banking platform that enhances financial services by presenting banking transactions as virtual conversations on social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Facebook, Messenger, and Telegram. Eva chatbot extends digital banking and customer support services to existing and new customers and can simulate a conversation or a chat with a user. The announcement of the development was made during the release of the Q1 2022 results by Equity Group Managing Director and CEO Dr. James Mwangi. The new Equity Virtual Assistant seeks to improve customer experience and streamline banking processes.
We are now discovering the power of the fourth industrial technologies. So each of us now have a personal assistant. Eva has now taken over. So if you want to transfer money, just tell Eva, this is what I want to do. You now can talk to your bank. We are now offering conversations 24 hours.
Uganda Tourism Board, UTB, seeks to partner with Kenyan tour operators to boost intra-Africa tourism between the two East African countries, with a focus on encouraging more tourists from Kenya to explore the natural, adventure, leisure, business and cultural attractions that Uganda has to offer. The roadshow comes in the wake of an intensified campaign by UTB to reposition Uganda as a leading tourism destination in Africa under a new brand dubbed Explore Uganda. To kick off the activities, UTB has launched a roadshow at the Serova Stanley Hotel in Nairobi, Kenya, from 23rd to 25th May in a bid to increase tourist arrivals from Kenya by 50% in 2023. Kenya is a key tourism source market, making up almost half of the African arrivals to the country. With Kenya's developed travel trade sector coupled with its connectivity to the rest of the world, Uganda travel trade partners will bank on the roadshow to secure partnerships that increase tourists to Uganda from Kenya. Over 278 operators from Kenya will create business linkages with 35 operators from Uganda. Speaking at the launch ceremony, Uganda's Deputy High Commissioner to Kenya, Evans Aryabaha, hailed the tourism industry as a powerful catalyst that will enhance the bilateral and cultural relations between the two countries.
Uganda is undisputedly the entertainment capital of not only East Africa, but Africa at large. So we are here to tell you the different products that we have in that space, but also we have Matters Day coming up on the 3rd of June, which is in a few days from now. Kenya we get a lot of people that come to Uganda for Matters Day celebrations. So for the past 2 years, celebrations were virtual because of COVID. People could not literally travel to Uganda. This is the first time we are going to have physical celebrations.
We are very grateful for this opportunity that UTB has presented to us to the launch of the Explore the Pan of Africa, that is Uganda. We have a spirit of adventure, and we can assure you that we are going to take the challenge that you have given us to come and explore the Pan of Africa. We are very excited about this collaboration, and you have our support, and we look to further engagements to see how we can put the product and position it also in our market.
The first incentive we have is based on the membership structure of CATO, which is safety, assurance, and quality. When dealing with a member of the association, you are assured you're in good hands. You are assured of getting the best possible attention and quality in terms of the product delivery. In the event you have a challenge, the association is on standby to help actually resolve any issue that may arise and to ensure that the client is satisfied.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife has launched a new strategy which will guide the recovery and growth of the country's tourism sector in the next 5 years. Dubbed the new vision for Kenya's tourism, this strategy will provide a roadmap for the sector and will shape the future of Kenya's tourism industry by providing a framework that details how to successfully develop sustainable tourism in Kenya. Speaking during the launch, Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala said the strategy was an important part of his ministry's mission to accelerate economic transformation of communities through providing solutions and opening up new opportunities for growth in this sector.
We are resilient. We can change it if we are committed. And that's why I want to appreciate today's launch of the new vision. This new vision is very solid. And I can tell you it was also discussed in Cabinet with the input of the Ministry of National Treasury. This vision is going to go beyond Najib Balala, is going to go beyond this government. Even the next government must follow this vision. But this vision is going to get Kenya to a different level if we are committed. The principle of this document and the strategy is how do we make our products sustainable? Conservation. We are champion in safari and conservation. How do we make it sustainable? How do we make it green? How do we make sure we are compatible with the digital platforms? And we are all over. And I want to congratulate Magical Kenya Tourism Board. They have been active in the last 2 years.
Over 200 students from Karunda's Catholic Vocational Training Center, Kieni East, Nyeri County, have benefited from a free training on how they can tap on digital technology to be self-reliant. Under the South-South Dialogue Initiative, the students were taken through various steps on how they can employ the internet to tap on the huge untapped potential of working remotely and at the comfort of their homes. South-to-South Dialogue is a technical support training program from China targeting developing countries whose aim is to share knowledge and skills in areas such as e-commerce, urbanization, health, human rights, advocacy, climate change, and agricultural development.
Nimeweza kujifunza mambo mingi. I can now work online. I'm so free. Alafu I would urge the youth outside there pia. This thing is very interesting. Inasaidia sana.
We would like to tell the youth that it is not just blue-collar jobs that are earning money. White-collar jobs that are earning money. There's a lot of blue-collar jobs which you can do through the internet. And basically we are telling them that you can advertise your services, you can scroll and browse through various sites that give opportunities of various kinds, okay? The internet is like a gold mine. It all depends on your interests, it all depends on your focus, it all depends on your vision. So you just get into Google, get to scroll or to browse the topics that you want, and you can get people who are interested in the services.
And to sports news now, let's look at what is happening internationally. Manchester City have been crowned the 2021-22 English Premier League champions after a dramatic 3-2 win against Aston Villa. City had to fight back from 2-0 down in the second half, but 3 goals in the space of 5 stunning minutes, including 2 from a substitute Ilkay Gundogan, set off the party, with fans pouring onto the field at the Etihad Stadium at the final whistle. City have now won 4 of the last 5 Premier League titles, and their victory ends Liverpool's hopes of a unique quadruple of trophies. And at home, KCB are back to winning ways after Derek Otanga's hat-trick saw the Bankers see off Nairobi City Stars 3-2 in an FKF Premier League match played at the Kasarani Annex. The win sends the Bankers 8th on the log, accumulating 43 points with just 2 matches left to play in the current Premier League season. KCB assistant coach Godfrey Odor said the team needed the win after a casual run in the previous matches. He, however, lauded the boys for displaying the desire to win amidst the turbulence in the current season. KCB will face Nzoia Sugar in the next fixture before playing Bidco United in their final match in this campaign. The tactician hopes their team will win the remaining fixtures to secure a respectable finish in a grueling season.
This season we were very ambitious, and we had a target of clinching the league. Apparently it didn't happen the way we had anticipated. So it is a league that we are fighting for a respectable finish in it. So yeah, it has been an average performance from all of us. Out of 10, I think the confidence levels are at 5. So we need to see how we can add another 3 on top of it by winning our next match. So to our fans, I just ask them to keep on believing in us, giving the players and the technical bench the confidence that is needed. And I'm sure we can deliver the target that we set starting this season. We can still also achieve it come next season, God willing.
Well, that story brings us to the end of this newscast tonight. Many thanks for staying with Hope TV News. Watch, I'll see you again tomorrow, same time. I'm Tony Omondi, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Murithi. Have a good night and God bless.